So, welcome to another episode of the Slaying It podcast. And in this episode, we have a really special guest, and her name is Suemyya Gangat, and she will do her own introduction. And a disclaimer for this episode, we had a lot of technical difficulties, so my audio wasn't connected properly, so it was really muffled. But thank God for Adobe Podcast, the editing AI tool that we have. We kind of salvaged it somewhat, but it was still not that great. But Suemyya's audio was great, but we couldn't get her laptop to be connected to the video for some reason, and that's why she is not on camera. But her insight and her valuable advice that she has for women, career-driven women, it's astounding, it's amazing, and it will be really great if you actually take the time to listen to this episode, because it's one of my favorite episodes. And enjoy!
First of all, thank you so much for staying here to do this and taking out of that time. So we spoke a lot of it over Facebook, and I really admire the work you do, especially your work focuses on mothers, and I know that it has a lot to do with aligning emotional well-being, and you also do stress management, focusing on helping mothers. So I want to know what got you, what you know about your background, how you started, and why you decided to focus on helping mothers particularly, and what made you become an emotional aligning and stress management coach.
Oh, wow. So there's about three questions there. So a little bit about my background. So my professional background, I'm a qualified social worker, specializing in child protection. And that's my field of expertise. And that's what I did my degree and master's in. And then I went on to work for the second largest child protection team in the UK. And then my husband and I moved to Kuwait. And that's where I had a phenomenal opportunity to work at a private international school. And I was the elementary counselor for we had about 800 students at that particular school. So that's my educational and professional background. So I qualified back in 2008. Your second question was, why do I specifically work with mothers? So I actually work with career-driven mothers. I work with mothers who are specifically impact-driven, mothers who want to leave this world a better place, and they do so by using their God-given gifts. The women that I work with are specifically the very, very, very unique women. They're actually women from the minority ethnic group who have turned their past adversity into their power. And despite what they've been through, I just truly believe these are women whose mothers have sat in the middle of the night and just prayed for their daughters and prayed to God and has asked the Lord for these beautiful women to have a better life. And so that's exactly what has happened with these women. They have I just believe their mothers' prayers have been answered. As a result, they have just excelled academically, and they have just reached a point in their career that they have excelled in their career. And so I specifically work with high achieving women who have just really excelled in their career, in their industry. And it's usually in industry, there seems to be a connection with my women. They seem to work in a male-dominated industry, which includes engineering, I have a lady who works in the real estate industry, and another client who's works in the field of law, finance, and marketing. So there seems to be a pattern with these women. And why have I chosen to work with these women? I actually didn't choose to work with them. It's just they have approached me to help them with what they're going through right now. And they're just, ironically, there just seems to be a pattern with all these women. They all just seem to work in a very male-dominated industry. So maybe there's a pattern there somehow. And I truly believe there is. I truly believe these women are the reason they, on a subconscious level, have chosen to work in the male-dominated industries. At one point, they have experienced a situation where they have said, I'm going to make a difference. And that happens to be in such an industry, whether it's whether it's finance, housing, and etc. And the third question you'd ask me is, why have I decided to specialize in energy alignment? Fantastic question. I'm so glad you asked that question, because there's a reason for that. And you know what the reason is, Musarat? Everything starts with your energy. Everything starts with, not your energy, pardon me. Everything starts with your emotion. Emotion is just an energy, okay? If you just think about it just for 1 second, right? As a God-conscious woman, right? When we go back to our Lord, we don't take back our mindset. We don't take back our thoughts. We take back our soul, our ruh, right? And that's like our soul. And the reason we disconnect from our soul is because we've disconnected from our heart. And the reason we disconnect from our heart is because somewhere along the line, we have had a traumatic experience by someone that we trusted. Someone that we trusted. It could have been a caregiver, it could have been a parent, it could have been a family member, it could have been an ex, it could have been anyone, it could have been a sister. It's specifically someone that you have trusted has betrayed you, or someone has hurt you. It could have been an uncle, and it could have been anyone. And that emotion, because of the experience, was so painful, that emotion caused you fear, anger, shame, guilt, depression, overwhelm. Because that emotion was so severe, you can disconnect from your emotions because you're no longer feeling happy. You're no longer feeling calm. You're no longer feeling confident. You're no longer feeling loved. You're no longer feeling fulfilled. The purpose, what we all are trying to achieve, is to be and to feel peaceful and to feel love. And when you've experienced relational trauma, as I've explained, because you've been betrayed by someone that you loved, your feelings are no longer the feeling of high vibration. It's low. You're not able to navigate through it because you don't know what the issue is. So what you end up doing without you realizing, you disconnect from your emotion, you numb them down, and you suppress them. Now, what happens, Musarat, when you suppress your emotions, right, it then starts showing up as physical symptoms. That numbness then shows up as stress in your life, constantly feeling stress. Now, when that's not resolved, then the symptom shows up on your body as panic attack, which you describe as anxiety. If that's not resolved, then do you know what happens? It then manifests itself into PTSD. This is when you experience flashbacks. And you're like, why am I experiencing flashbacks from the past? This does not make any sense. You wake up one morning and you're experiencing flashbacks. It doesn't make sense. Now, if that's not resolved, then that numbness, that emotional numbness, then turns into chronic pain, migraine. Okay? Or it even goes like severe chronic pain. Starting from migraine could, just become very painful. And then, if that's not resolved, you're talking about 10 to 15 years of this happening. Then at the end, that PTSD, symptom of PTSD, then eventually turns into breast cancer. Research now confirms, Musarat, that the root cause of breast cancer is suppressed emotions. So this is why when I work with my ladies, I start off with emotional alignment, cleaning up all those emotions one by one, bit by bit, piece by piece, starting with fear, shame, guilt, depression, overwhelm, etc. And just by doing that, let me give you an example. Like this lady, a beautiful lady that I'm currently working with, and she shared we did a live interview with her in my Facebook group, and what she shared within 5 sessions of us working together, she improved her emotional, mental, energetic well-being by 50%. Bearing in mind, this beautiful soul had spent 6 years in therapy spinning her wheels. Within 5 sessions, this is 5 hours, we were able to improve her emotional, mental, energetic well-being by 50%. Now, what the problem is, this is a subject, this question, I'm so glad that you've asked me, because I'm just so passionate about bringing awareness about this. What you will see and notice, Musarra, in the personal development industry is that you will be encouraged to do mindset work, coaching, which is great. You have to bear in mind and you have to realize the concept and the background of mindset work. Majority of the mindset work has been created by men for men.
Right. And then,
Is that?
is it in, like, there is data out there?
Yeah, so there is data. So majority of coaching modalities including like NLP, even RTT. I'm trained with Marissa Peer, but her modality, she was trained by her mentor who was male. NLP was created by 2 male coaches. These are all men that have created the majority of the modalities out there. So they were created by men for men, which was all based around logical mind or subconscious mind in order to help you achieve your goals. We are more than our minds. We are holistic beings. So this is why when I work with my women, I start with the emotions, because the heart has its own brain. Research now confirms that. If we put research aside, even if we look at, like, if you're a God-fearing woman, if you look at it from a religious Islamic perspective, if the heart is clean, the whole body is clean. What's in the heart? The emotions. This is why if you might be a religious, God-fearing woman, but yet your behavior is not in alignment with your value system. You might be getting angry. You might be getting triggered. You might be losing it with your husband, might be losing it with your kids. And you're like, what the heck is wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. It's just your heart has that emotion, the emotion of anger that's trapped there because something that happened to you in your past is still stuck there. Until you remove that emotion of anger, it's still going to play up as your behavior. So your emotions are stuck in your heart, which creates your thoughts, which creates your behavior. So going back to what I was sharing is that majority of the coaching out there, modality created by men for men, right? So therefore, as a woman, you might even have had mindset work and you're like, it didn't go deep enough. Something is still missing. Yes, there is. Because as women, if you're a mother, right, you just intuitively know there's something wrong with your child. You just know instantly. It's not your logical brain. It's your intuition. It's your heart. And that's where we've got to go back into your heart and remove all of those emotions, then work with your mind, then work with your behavior and give you the tools, the techniques and the skills. Communicate effectively, manage your stress, because that emotion is now showing up as stress. And also to have the tools, the techniques, and to have the right effective communication skills too. When you have trapped emotions, it also blocks you from communicating your needs. Does that answer your question why I'm so passionate about working with these women, especially career-driven, impact-driven women, because they're here to leave this world a better place, not only for their children, but for the next generation. And majority of the women that I work with who are impact-driven, their career is a vehicle of making a massive difference in the world. And each and every single day, that's exactly what they are doing.
Another question that comes to my mind is when women do come to you with, whatever they're facing in terms of emotional alignment, stress management, do they actually know how deep is the problem? Root cause of the problem?
No. Great question. Oh my God, I love this question. So no, when my women come to me, they usually come to me saying, I'm ready to up level in my career. I'm ready to take my career to the next level. Something's holding me back. Something is blocking me. I'm feeling disconnected. I'm feeling dissatisfied with my relationships at home with my children. I want to run away from my marriage, and I'm just feeling like I'm feeling unfulfilled with my career. So what they think their problem is, they think it's their husband. And they think like that they're not reaching their potential and they're just feeling unhappy with their career. The women that come to me already have tried therapy, right? And they get frustrated, which I can get it, because the women I specifically work with are very intelligent, right? And they hang out with very intelligent women too. So just the level of communication and interaction they have within that support group, you've got to understand, they can like logically understand their problem, right? But they're looking for an answer and they don't know what it is, right? And what it actually is they think it's their husband. In actual fact, it's not their husband. What it is, the reason why they want to run away from their marriage is, it's really interesting, is because going back to the emotion, remember I said everything starts with emotion, that when you are in that negative emotion, emotion's just energy. So when you're in that low vibration, what happens is your nervous system is also dysregulated, right? Your nervous system is what connects the heart to your brain. So you've got your heart, which is emotional, is completely blocked. Then you got your nervous system, which is on flight, fright, wants to run away. So the reason why the women, like, you know, in this situation wants to run away from their marriage is because their nervous system is frazzled, right? So they will say, I want to run away from my husband. This is when I go through a specific process, Sarah, and I figure out whether this marriage is, whether this lady is in a relationship with a narcissistic husband. If she is, right, and I'm going to be really open here, and if she is emotionally, mentally, psychologically, she and her kids are at risk and she wants to leave, I will do, using my social work background or my tools, my modalities and my proven process, I will actually support her wholeheartedly to get out of that marriage. And I have done that with some of my clients, 2 months. They've walked away from the marriage, divorced, and within like 6 months, alhamdulillah, they've been able to, like, you know, save up enough money to put down a deposit for a house. 12 months later, found the man of their dreams and they've got remarried. I also want to say that I'm not a woman that believes if a Muslim woman is in a marriage where she is dysfunctional, where she's being abused, I would not tell her to just stay there. I wouldn't. And it's because it's not the right thing for her psychologically, nor the children. And as a society, we have to understand that sometimes women are in narcissistic, abusive relationships. And a lot of people out there do not have the expertise to identify this. And as a result, they'll just say to the woman, stay quiet, or just be patient, everything will be fine. No, you don't know the root cause here because you don't have that level of expertise. Okay, so going back to your question, so I've gone on a sidetrack. So when most of my women come to me, they come to me with symptoms, right? And I really want to share this. This is really important for all your listeners out there. This advice that I'm going to give you is going to save you so much time. It's going to save you money in the long run. Majority of coaches and therapists out there will treat the symptom. They do not know the root cause because most of coaches and therapists out there do not have a professional background in the field that they are coaching. So a coach, right, and therapist, as you know, Musarra, you're in the online space. Any therapist out there can do an online therapy course for 3 months. Mm-hmm. It's a modality, it's a toolbox. Mm-hmm. Coaching as well, you can get a coaching certificate for like 6 months. Mm-hmm. You can do it in 6 months. What that's giving you is a modality. It's a toolbox. Let's say when you go to a heart, right? Mm-hmm. You go to a heart surgeon and you have this random person that says, oh, I can do your surgery. You know, I've got the toolbox to be, I've done this 3 months course and I've got a toolbox to be able to do surgery on you. Okay? Now, that person, in the end, they might have a toolbox which they've learned from another, let's say from a doctor. But in the end, when they do an open heart surgery on you, in the long run, they're going to damage you. They're going to cause you more damage than good. Because they don't have the expertise, the experience of supervised practice. Whereas a qualified heart surgeon will have the experience, the qualification, and supervised practice to be able to take you deep enough when you opens up, because you'll be able to see what's there, what the root problem is, what the cause is, how to clean it, how to heal it, how to do the surgery, and then stitch you up again. So to go back to your question, do my clients know what the root cause is? No, they don't. So this is my job. What I do when someone approaches me for help, we jump on a call, and the first thing I do, we have a coffee chat, 20 minutes to 40 minutes. And in that time, I ask them questions. If I feel that I can help them, that's when I explain to them, look, what I'm going to advise us to do is jump on a call now, another call, which is a diagnosis call, which I'm going to share with you the root cause of these symptoms that you're experiencing. The symptom of you wanting to run away from your marriage, feeling unhappy in your career, losing it with your children, feeling energetically drained such that you don't want to get out of bed, and just feeling like there's a void inside of you and you cannot pinpoint it. The root cause of all of that is quite simply relational trauma. That's basically you've had an experience with someone that you loved may have betrayed you, someone that you trusted betrayed you. Could be your mother, could be your father, could be a caregiver, could be your ex, could be your sister, could be anyone. It's an experience. And that has now impacted you such that your low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-confidence, and all those emotions are stuck there. So does that answer your question?
I love how in-depth you go, and I feel like it's going to help a lot of that I know, and they have faced similar problems and issues in their lives where I feel like a lot of them, when they start their life, they're not even aware of themselves, and in that way, because they have not dived within themselves, they can't like detect if it's a narcissist person that they're dealing with, or if it's because when you're growing up, we weren't taught about emotional. We weren't taught about the kind of trait that even people can have that is not healthy. And I feel like, and women, especially for women, we are always told to like, deal with it. It's okay if it's unhealthy, and
yeah. I think as a society, you're absolutely right, Nusara. As a society, what women are taught, and our generation were taught, it's just to stay quiet, stay small, suppress, and just be patient. Just be patient. And that, as a result, like you said, women don't even know who they truly are. They actually do not know who they truly are. I mean, they know on a logical level, I'm a mother, I'm a Muslim woman, and, this is my professional background. But not more than that, but underneath all of that, who are you? And because of that past traumatic experience they've had, right, which goes back to emotions, that has disconnected them from who they truly are. So they're showing up in society as what other people want them to be.
To take a moment to absorb that. That is so true.
So this is why my process is actually called emotional elevation method. And this is literally what I do. I align the emotion. Starting right, the first thing I do is connect them back to who they truly are. That's emotional connection. Then we work on emotional fulfillment so that they start feeling fulfilled in their marriage again. Okay? Majority of my women have gone through such adversity, and believe it or not, God has blessed them with a really good man, right? But do have exceptional cases, right? But they can't see that blessing because their heart is blocked, their mind is trapped, and they can't see through it. They can't see through this chaos, right? So then we work on that emotional fulfillment. So they start feeling fulfilled in their relationships at home. Then we amplify their potential. We take it to a whole new level, Nusara, a whole new level. And believe me or not, these women, once they connect back to themselves, once they have a thriving relationship at home with their husband, and they have a really deeper bond with their children, and we get clear on their vision, they get clear on their impact, they take that impact to a whole new level. Would you like me to share some examples? I had one amazing, incredible woman. She works in the real estate industry, and for 6 years she wanted to be like one of the top producers. And once we did all this work, Nusrat, within 6 months, she actually generated over 1 million in sales within a month. She was a top producer for her industry. That aside, I had another client, and she has actually done a live recording on my Facebook page, and she was actually approached by, I can't give you the name, but one of the top optical franchises in the UK approached her to ask her if she would consider going into like a franchise with them, and these are some of the impact that these women have been able to do once they've been able to heal themselves, find themselves, connect back to themselves, have fulfilled relationships at home. Because you see, everything is connected. You can't have a thriving career when your house is a chaos, the home and relationships are chaos, and your emotions are chaos. You just can't. Everything is interconnected.
Mm-hmm. I was getting there. I feel that motherhood and entrepreneurship, they are often intertwined, right? And
Absolutely.
And like it presents both opportunities and challenges in both the spectrum. So like how can mothers strike a harmonious balance between their family responsibilities and growing their business or their career, but without compromising their well-being or passion for both roles? Because I often realize that women can lose themselves in the responsibility, and then their career or businesses also get affected because they do not know how to strike that balance.
Right. Balance is something you can't ever have. There's no such thing, right? That's the truth, okay? If someone says to you, oh, you can have a balance, you can't. The reality is you can't. But what you can have is seasons, right? Seasons. For example, I'll give you myself as an example. For me, my season up until the end of this year is to build a strong foundation for my, don't want to call it business, but for my service, okay? And in the background, I'm working on this foundation, right? Now, come January, right, for a good 3-4 months, I'm just going to take, not a back seat, but then my priorities changing, and my season then is going to be more about being more present with my children, spending more time with them. For the next 6 months, I'm building a foundation. For the next maybe 4 or 5 years, I can then spend more time with my children, because this foundation I want to build is such that it's going to give my business an ease and a flow where I can maybe just have maybe 1 or 2 clients per month working one-to-one with them. Because this is the thing. This is another thing that I'm going to get sidetracked here, but I really want your listeners to know this, because no one out there in the industry is going to tell you this, but I'm going to openly and frankly tell you something. So please listen up. Again, this is going to save you so much time, effort, and energy, okay? One of the things that I really do not like about the coaching industry is this. It's all about scale. It's all about growing. It's all about growing your finance. So what that ends up happening is that you're boxed into a group program, okay? And everyone has different needs, different wants, different experiences, different situations, right? As a qualified social worker, one of the key values that we were taught is every child matters. That's the same principle I use in my own service, in my own practice, and every client matters. So this is why when I work with clients, they get a bespoke, personalized, tailor-made program for them. They're not boxed into a group coaching program. Everything is tailored, the process that we go through from start to finish. So this is why for me, it's just about working really, really closely with my clients, a few clients per month. Why am I sharing this? So there's no such thing as balance. But what I personally feel is that you have seasons. There might be a season while you're building something. Your attention might go more on your marriage, or it might go more on your children, or it might go more on your business, or it might go more on your health. But ultimately, it's just about trying your best in every single area. You're never going to get it right, but just having self-compassion for yourself, and sometimes acknowledging when you're doing too much and just slowing down.
That concept of the vulnerability balance and looking at that through the lens of their season actually does take off that pressure to be everywhere all at once. So then to stay balanced, it kind of feels I have to do everything all at once. I have to get everything figured out, like marriage, friendship, everything, business all at once. But I feel like when you look through the lens of season, you can sort of be like, okay, this is the season where 70% will go to my relationships and 30% will be business. I don't have to always strike a balance of 50-50 when we know that realistically it's not always possible.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. It's about just having compassion for yourself and say, okay, this is the season I'm in. This is what I'm focusing on, which is fine.
So moving on, I want to talk about how the idea of empowerment, that one going journey for everyone and building self-awareness is a very crucial aspect of emotional alignment, keeping it really self-aware for that to work, for your emotion and your mental health to be aligned. What are some of the powerful questions healing entrepreneurs can ask spectators to themselves to stay aligned with their vision, purpose, and values?
Gosh, what a really good question. Really good question. Really good question. See, the women I specifically work with are really empowered women. They're very high achieving, impact driven women. And with these women, they care for others more than they care for themselves. Sometimes these women can really neglect themselves. So my heartfelt invitation to these women is to ask themselves on a daily basis, have I allowed myself to be restful today? Have I allowed myself to slow down? Have I allowed myself to say no? And this is something I'm going to say which is very controversial, but I really, really feel it's important for these women to hear. Have I said no to my husband? Have I allowed myself to stop emotionally rescuing my husband? Because he's got to take care of himself. He's got to look after himself. He's got to get it together, and she's not responsible for him emotionally. She's not. So that's my message to these women, is that you're not responsible for your husband. You're not responsible for his emotions. You're not responsible for his mental being. You are responsible for you. Ask yourself, have I taken care of me today? What have I done for myself today? And have I allowed myself to slow down?
Oh, that's actually that's a simple thing, right? But we don't really practice this.
Yeah. Because these women, you've got to understand when we're in this when your nervous system dysregulated and when you've had this traumatic experience, it could be anything, but it's usually a relationship trauma that your nervous system's regulated and you're on this flight or fright response. So you're constantly on the go. And it's not familiar for you just to slow down.
Yeah, that's so true. I think you're talking about career-driven women and like in leaders business. The journey to building any career or business is built with ups and downs. Can you share a personal experience that you faced a significant setback or obstacle, and how do you use emotional alignment and stress management?
Such a good question, Masara. Absolutely, I would love to share my experience, and I would love to share this because again, I don't think stuff like this is openly discussed. And for me, the biggest setback was, I think recently, I had a level of awareness that where I wanted to be in my business, I wasn't where I wanted to be. And for 3 years, I've actually been spinning my wheels. I'm not going to lie, I've been spinning my wheels and I couldn't put my finger on it, because you got to bear in mind that when it comes to business, I'm not the expert. But when it comes to trauma, I can put my finger on it. And so I was, I think, all over the place, and the help that I got wasn't the right help. And gosh, the biggest lesson, please listen to this. And I wish someone told me this at the start. I really wish. And you've got to bear in mind that I come from a very caring background. As a qualified social worker, it's a background that's very care driven. And so when I was new to this industry, I didn't know a lot. And what I know now, which I wish someone had told me, but anyhow, to share with you the biggest challenge I didn't know at the time, but I know now know, is that some of the coaches out there, you just got to give me a moment, some of the coaches out there actually used high pressured, manipulative sales tactic on me to get me to sign up for their program, which what I needed wasn't actually what my business needed. And they promised me things which they didn't deliver. And some of the things I specifically asked for, will your course cover X, Y, Z? Yes. Trusted them, then realized after being in their container, it happened to me twice, not once, for over 12 months in one, not 11 months in one container, another container for like 13 months, that the repair work I had to do from that was really severe. And it was about healing parts of me again so that I could step back into my power. You know what, Musara, I am so blessed. I now have one of my mentors been with me for a very long time, and she's amazing. She's incredible. She gets me, and she was like, right, let's get all this sorted for you. Just spending hours with her, just healing that experience, those experiences. And so I'm just going to say to anyone out there who's listening to this, if you ever feel like you're on a sales call with a coach, you just feel like, oh, doesn't feel right. They're using manipulative, high-pressured sales tactics, and they're very experienced at what they're doing. So please be warned, be warned. I wish I knew this a lot earlier on my journey. I would have saved so much time, would have saved so much money, would have saved so much energy, would have saved a heartache as well. Saying that, you got to go through lessons in life, and those lessons have been hard. Where I'm at right now, I have 4 better mentors now in my corner, and they really not only get me, but they understand my impact. They understand that I'm here to create an impact from a very humane perspective, not the tactics and strategy, not tactics, manipulative tactics that, which are used out there, but just from a place which is different. And so that's what it is. It's just finding the right mentors. And sometimes you go through a roller coaster ride, but that's perhaps been the hardest lesson for me in my entrepreneurship journey. That's been the hardest lesson. And yep, expensive mistakes. But I wish this conversation, it helped someone not to make that mistake that I did.
It's just like to share some thoughts about that. I didn't realize that the online space, especially in the coaching section, there are a lot of toxic methods of doing things. And I realized that, like coaches teaches other coaches on how to be a coach, they are also it's like passed down the same thing.
It's watered down.
And like people like us, we will have to unlearn those tactics and be like, if this is not ethical, it's not sustainable, just feel aligned with who we are already, and then start again. And I have had friends who are in the business who, when they started marketing business, the coaching business, they get traumatized by it and they have to leave. And then they have to be people, why is marketing so weird out there? And they realize that most of them are people learn and they practice toxic marketing and unethical marketing.
Yeah.
So I faced that as well, and I totally resonate. Like when you go through that, and then you're like, "This is the only way to do the teams around here." It's still so weird. I go back to if you're not gonna advise this way to a friend, how do you do that to random people? You wouldn't do that to someone you care about, right?
And I think what's really toxic out there is that someone, a coach, hits certain figure and they're like, "Oh, I can teach you how to do it." But hold on, you're not really the expert. Your experience is different. Your tactics and the way you're doing that method might not work for me. And that's the thing that's sometimes they're not real experts out there. That's what I've learned is people are saying, "I can help you do this because I've done it," but that does not mean they're an expert, nor do they have experience. That's what you've got to look for is experience. Even coaches, like you will see, Masara, so many coaches out there which really kind of you've got to be really careful of. Is they'll say, "Oh, I'll help you heal your trauma. I'll help you to, I'll help you with your marriage, or I'll help you with this." And you look at the qualifications, and you're like, "Okay, you've got coaching certification. Who's that accredited with? Do you have supervised practice? What's your professional background? What qualifications do you have? Most importantly, how many years experience do you have doing this? What is your experience?" You can, let's say if you call a plumber and he or she, has been to college for a few months and they come to do your drainage system, in comparison to someone who's been certified and been doing it a lot longer, the outcome that you're going to get is going to be really different. And so when you're giving let's say, when you're working on yourself, just, you are the biggest investment. So just do your due diligence. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what is. Please do your due diligence, and please, there's lots of coaches out there who really market themselves really well, claiming that they can help you with your marriage, your trauma. They've actually had expert help with their marketing, and really they might not have the experience to give you the results that you want. And that's what you want to look for is someone who has experience and qualifications which are accredited, and they have had supervised practice.
I remember in the coaching business, in certain weeks, they're particularly like, "Oh, you can just teach whatever works for you, and that is what you're going to their priority." I feel like in terms of therapy, in terms of the work you do need qualification, just kind of from the
Oh gosh, yes, I completely agree with you. So the coaching industry is unregulated. It's an industry that's unregulated. Anyone can pop up and claim that they can help you do anything, and it's not regulated. So that's number one. Therapy as well, Musarra. There are coaches out there, or actually programs out there, believe it or not, that you can actually study online, and you can actually be a certified therapist within a couple of months without any supervised practice. I specifically know of modalities that do that. And the people that are trading these modalities, they actually do not have a professional background in the field of psychology. And so they put a modality together based on their experience. And that's what they're teaching now. And their branding and marketing is really good.
I think that's why they do have the skills, but I don't think the impact might be there in what that.
Just it's about doing your due diligence. That's the most important thing.
So like once your clients have, their emotional alignment, it can positively influence their decision making, creativity, and overall business or career performance. Can you share some practical exercises or techniques that, women can incorporate in their daily routine to enhance their emotional alignment and boost their productivity?
A practical tip that they can do. Okay, so there's 3-4 different things here. Okay, so you've got energy alignment, and then you've got productivity. Productivity is different, and stress management. So all those things are 3 different things. So to align your energy, you've got to clear up each negative energy one by one. And then to give you the tools to manage your stress, that in itself is a toolbox. And then you need techniques to improve your productivity. So this is why when a client comes to me, we do like 6 dimensional transformation, which is the emotions, the energy, the nervous system regulation, their mind mastery, tools to manage their stress, techniques to communicate better, and also skills to communicate better, and techniques to manage their stress and resilience building. So what you've asked is like there's 3 different things, but there's 3 different things, but yeah, you can So to move emotion,
just one minute do one of it. It's like many layers and can only like cover so much in one podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I could advise you to do sometimes, just something that can help you instantly, just to feel calmer, just literally to feel calmer, especially when things are just chaotic. If you just put your hands at the top of your shoulders and just, okay, so if you put one hand across now, so cross your hands, cross, and then the top of your shoulder, if you just move your hands all the way down to your fingertips and just say to yourself, closing your eyes, just say, breathe in, say, I am safe. It's okay to be me. Just breathe out. I am loved and safe. Okay. So just your hands, just brush them down all the way down. Fingertip. Yep, like that. That is perfect, Sarah. It's just that.
That is powerful. I feel like it kind of translates into comforting yourself, assuring you.
Exactly, yeah. It's exactly what it does, yeah.
We just talked about how mothers often prioritize the needs of others and sometimes neglect their own well-being, right? So, like, how do you actually encourage your clients to prioritize self-care and create a sustainable routine for them that nourishes both their personal and professional life?
Okay, so what we do, we don't actually create a routine. What I actually do is we go back, we clear all the blocks, and then what I do with my clients is I actually empower them to create loving but firm boundaries, so they can start saying no to things that doesn't resonate with them, things that take up too much energy, people who are asking too much from them. By doing that, that clears up their energy, it improves their emotional well-being, improves their mind, and ultimately they get back like 10 hours per week because they're no longer around toxic people asking them for toxic things, and they're not drained out by saying, oh my goodness, how am I going to say no? But that's the best way, is creating those firm and loving boundaries from the inside.
I feel like that's the foundation, right? Once that is set, you actually have a sustainable routine for yourself, and you figure that how you're going, because everybody's routine needs to be quite different from each other. And like, just curious, your clients have a hard time embracing things or any, because when you do coach them and stuff, is there like resistance to change? And how do you deal with that? Or just encourage them to be like, it's okay, you don't have to be afraid to take your step?
To be honest, I don't have to encourage them. The women that come to me have got to a point that they've tried everything, right? They've tried therapy, they've tried coaching, and they're looking for an actual proven process. They're looking for a solution. So they're already empowered. And it's just a case of them explaining to them, right, this is the process, a 3-step process, emotional elevation. This is what it looks like. These are your needs. This is what I'm going to tailor for your needs. How do you feel? What does this look like? What's your budget? Let's create something that you need. It's going to give you the results that you want, and it's within your budget. That in itself, right at the beginning, just gives them so much hope that they know exactly they're going to get what they want, and they're going to achieve the result that they're looking for. And part of that, for some women, it might be resilience building. For others, they might not need that part. So it's all about creating something that's unique for them, that meets their needs. And once I show them the proposal of their personalized treatment plan, and some things they might take away, some things they might add on to, but at the end of that, they're just eager to get started. So there's no case of why we're doing the work that we're going to convince them. Sometimes they will just ask me, oh, what we're covering this week. Right, let's go back to your proposal. Right, can you see this is what we were supposed to do this week, but this is what's come up. Like in a heart surgery, what's going to come up, the heart surgeon doesn't know until they've opened it. That's the same thing when I say to my clients, and they're like, oh, okay, but that came up. So this, what we're supposed to do this week, we just got to change it around and do it later on. So having that process, there's no resistance, and I'm not giving them something that they may not need. I hope that answers the question.
Definitely. And when women come to you, how do you actually create that safe environment for them to be vulnerable with you?
Brilliant question. Brilliant. Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked this question. Oh my God, this is such an important question. Right. So a lot of women that I specifically work with, and believe it or not, Sarah, a lot of high-flying women high achieving women, they've achieved so much because of the past trauma they've experienced with it: sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect. And so in order to create a safe environment for these women, you've got to understand their psychology. You've got to understand their behavior patterns. Not only that, but in order to create a safe environment, it requires you to have skills and experience. And this is something that I'm so grateful I learned part of my social work training. I was not given the approval, or no social worker is signed off fit for practice until we can identify that a client, that we have the skill set, build a rapport with the client to make them feel calm, make them feel comfortable, and to create a safe environment. That actually requires a skill set on its own. It's a skill that you need to acquire. And that's something that I've been fortunate for the last 18 years that I've had the opportunity to practice. Because, women who come to me, and over the last 18 years, I've worked with about 1,000 parents and children, and I've, helped them improve their emotional, mental well-being, and I've helped them kind of, have a better quality of life. And when they come to me, they're on high alert, they're defensive, and they can't see what I can see. And so it's about getting them from where they are on high alert to really creating that safe environment. So how do I do it? Great question. It requires training. It is a skill set, and it's on its own that you have to learn. And I had the opportunity to learn that part of my social work training.
But, they have such traumatic experience. They are not always comfortable opening up straight away, and it keeps hard for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's creating that safe space for them to open up. Yep, definitely.
So coming to the end of the podcast, then you have any last valuable advice or an empowering message that you like to share to help these women, both in a personal and professional, but something that's general. It doesn't have to be in depth, like a last message for them.
I would just say that when you heal yourself, you heal whole generation. When you heal yourself, you heal your children, the next generation, and that's your legacy. That's your legacy. You are the biggest investment. It's not another designer bag. It's not that brand new shiny car. You can have the best car. You can have the biggest house extension. But what's the point when you're feeling unfulfilled and you're not emotionally thriving and you're not you're disconnected with your children, and your marriage is a mess and you're not creating a massive impact? I would just say you are the biggest gift. You are the biggest investment. And when you heal yourself, you heal your children and the next generation.
And it's very powerful to think that way, because I feel like we often think legacy has to be some sort of a huge thing outside of our realm, but when we actually just work on ourselves, that itself can be a butterfly effect, because it passes down to everyone that interacts with everybody else. You will be strong enough to help the next generation and your friends and your family, and passing out that thinking, right? So you realize that can actually help the whole community. How you are doing right now, because you have to work on yourself. You have to get the journey, invested in yourself, and now you're passing on that light to the next generation.
Absolutely.
So before we end, can you just share with our audience how the thing works with you, and what types of programs or services you might offer to support the impact-driven mothers on this journey?
Sure, absolutely. So at the moment, I have my Facebook page. They can. I'm just going to get I'm not sure what the link is.
I'll be putting that all of the information.
So I'm on Facebook, and my Facebook page is my first name, Suemyya, Suemya. Gangat is my last name, spelled Gangat. If you would love to jump on a call with me, a coffee chat, I call it a 40-minute chat, just to kind of get clarity where you are, where you want to be, what may be holding you back. You can, just reach out and DM me my Facebook. And the way I work is I offer a process called emotional elevation method. It's a 3-step process. So what we do is we emotionally connect you back to yourself. And then the second stage is emotional fulfillment stack. That's where we work on you having fulfilled relationship with your children and a thriving marriage where you're not rescuing your husband, but you have a loving and intimate and just a good, healthy marriage. And you're not in this insecure, anxious attachment style sort of relationship. And then finally, that's where that the top part, step 3, is called Ultimate Potential Amplifier, where we take your impact to a next level, a whole new level. And this process, this 3-step process, uses a combination of raising your emotions, aligning your energy, also aligning your behavior, resetting your nervous system, giving you tools to manage your stress. Skills to have effective communication skills, and techniques to regulate your emotions. So it's a proven process. This is a process that has taken me 18 years using a combination of my social work background and tons of other modalities that I'm trained in. So it's proven, and whoever is open to working with me, there's no pressure. I don't believe in that sort of style. Quite simply, what I believe in is, whoever has been awake in the middle of the night, prayed to their Lord that they really need help, Allah somehow connects us. And if you feel I'm that person that you've been asking your Lord for help in the middle of the night, then I will help you get clear on what results you want, what's blocking you, and just to create a personalized treatment plan that's bespoke, that's going to help you get the results. I don't believe in this box approach coaching industry offers, where they try to sell you into a program which may not be suitable for you. Rather, I try to lead with results. So yeah, if you feel this message has resonated with you, please feel free to message me on Facebook, and I would love to connect with you. And if you're just unsure, if you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I need help or something doesn't feel right, just message me. We'll just jump on a Zoom call and have a chat over a cup of tea.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And then there are a lot of women that you have already benefited from the series where I've learned a lot myself with this conversation. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much.